fucker from high school. He was a bitch then, and he's a bitch now, and like that.
I get stuff like that. Like, you know, hey guys, I've got a story of Woody. This time I met him at Walmart, and like the first half of it's kind of realish, and by the bottom I've like raped their puppy or something.
Yeah, that's just
why would
because
you do that?
Yeah, how would you do that?
I mean, you didn't see the puppy.
This
If
is
you
a
did,
hockey
you'd be
thing,
on
isn't
Team Woody.
Damn, that's a hot ass.
Yeah, I mean, the puppy had its tail up, which is puppy for asking for it.
That's fair. I've read that. Caesar Milan said that.
They're built for it.
Yeah, and cats too. Cats raise that tail all the time. They want it. Giving you the old brown eye.
Fuck cats. Literally and figuratively. Yeah. No, Twitch is a blast. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, I need to get back to streaming more. I had such a good night playing last night. I met all my goals. I split off from my friends, and I realized, like, I'm one successful quest away. I'll give it one try. I'm up too late already, but one more game. And the next game hit all my expectations. I upgraded. I hit level 30, which, like, opens half a dozen things.
Yeah.
People probably don't want to get into I'll talk too much, but after I split off with my friends, I did a mission, and right now, like, so I have so much stuff I can upgrade about my character that the process takes like 50 hours. It's happening now, Taylor. It's just churning and churning and churning. After this show, I'll kick off a few more events and go to bed, and I'll wake up in the morning. And we've turned the corner. Turned the corner in this thing. I'm about to get Mega Man in this game.
Yeah,
so.
We definitely stream different ways.
We do.
You're working on a game, and like I'm just trying to fuck around mostly, because that seems to be what my subsection of this PKA audience that likes me enough to come check out the streams is like, they just want to fuck around. Like, they just want to joke and goof, and like just the other day, like I tweeted, I was like, or I guess it was just yesterday. It's like, hey, what do you guys want? Making fun of 60 Days In, or do you want Red Dead Redemption 2? And part of me was like, man, it'd be kind of nice to play some Red Dead. I really like Red Dead. And it was like, nope, 60 Days In. That's what we want. We want to watch you make fun of retards in prison. I was like, oh, well,
a similar thing happens to me. Like, I'm loving Tarkov, right? I'm addicted to this game at an unhealthy level. I'm all about Tarkov. And my chat is like, marbles? Can I get some marbles? And it's like, oh. Now that there's no music, I feel like marbles is even harder to pull off. It added a tone, a vibe, and excitement to it. You know, I'm playing Thunderstruck and making a really big deal out of marbles, which isn't that big a deal.
Yeah, well, you do a really good job commentating.
Thank you.
You do a very good job. Like, I like, I didn't want to say it to Mark. Love Mark, such a great guest. But the first time you see Mark, wait for Kyle. So I was saying, Kyle, Mark, our guest, great guy, love him a lot. The first time I saw him in the show, though, he was standing there in a gray t-shirt, nipples protruding. And so for the next entire season, he was just called Nips in my stream. And so I didn't want to ask him about being called Nips, but I'm about to add an emote, because I hit... I'm about to add an emote that's just him with the nipples on it. We'll see if that gets passed or not. Now I don't want to add it because he's such a genuine guy. I don't want people to make fun of him. But
maybe a close-up of the nips could be an inside joke.
Exactly. A nip close-up. Twitch will be like, yep, approved.
I loved Woody's reaction when I called him a pig. What is it? Disapproval.
What's funny that I noticed is that I added a ton of new emotes, like new funny Trump faces, funny faces of all of us. My Jeffrey Epstein emotes took a little longer to get approved, and that was funny. But now you can Epstein it up on my channel. I've got a couple Epstein options.
Oh, I love that meme I sent you the other day on text of the guy who had bought Epstein's Island, and it's just Epstein in a beard.
Photoshopped like big Arab-looking beard on there.
You know?
Speaking of really terrible, annoying, awful people, I just looked back up to confirm, make sure, and that guy Steve on your season 5, he is the dickhead that we talked about, I think, on PKN, where he was in there for maybe 3 hours, and then a couple of inmates, first of all, he's covered up like a bitch, just saying, and his cover story is that he's listening for contraband info, and then a couple of inmates in there start fucking with him and saying, like, yeah, we're bringing acid into the prison, and because they know they're
and he
killed.
thought it was like the biggest find in the history of freaking prison finds.
Oh, and we know how big of a problem LSD is in our prison system. You hear about it nonstop, and he thought that they were being real, but it's like you dip a birthday card in LSD, and then you spray a little bit of Dolce & Gabbana on there, and then ship it in there, and then I guess everybody's tripping. Like, and then he immediately does the my neck, my fucking neck, or my shoulder. Oh shit, my shoulder. What was when you finally saw him? I guess on the footage or in that little round table. What was your kind of perspective on it? Was it just this guy's a bitch?
Okay, this guy. Okay, just to let you know that when you guys watched the reunion or the round table, as you called it, we didn't know about him until the reunion, and man, the guy actually had as crazy as it sounds, he had a good edit. From the reunion.
Really? He looks terrible.
He was even a bigger d-bag, man. And in fact, I'll actually share some other stuff with you guys before we get done with this conversation about him, to show you how big of a d-bag he is. But he just came in blaming everybody but himself, blaming production, talking about how when they pulled him out, he jumped the producer, and I'm like, no, you didn't, because you would have really like been in Canal County.
Yeah.
Like for real. Yeah, that would be kind of cool though. He'd be the first.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Series history.
First guy to go to prison.
But yeah, man, he came in. He was arrogant, and he was even worse than, as I said, the reunion portrayed. Because I think they were because they started naming names of production people, and so they took all that out. In fact, when he left, he only came in for a segment. We filmed for about 12 hours in New York for the reunion episode. He was there for an hour, and they actually pulled him out and chauffeured him out before they'd even let us get a break. But the guy's just, I try to. I'm the king of second chances, and I guess it's because of my faith or whatnot. But I try to give everyone a second chance. But he recently faked his own death.
What did he do?
No one noticed.
No one noticed.
He got distraught when he realized there wasn't a funeral. They had a barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, he had a going away party on the day after he died. No, but yeah, so he just, I woke up and a fan sent me this obituary, and I was like, man, it sucks, dude. I don't wish any ill will, no matter how much I don't like him. I never wish ill will on somebody. And that's exactly what happened here. I woke up to an obituary and I freaked out, so I started trying to call him and all this. He wouldn't answer. He took the Facebook page into what we call Remembering Me Facebook page. Like, oh my God. So I actually, I was freaked out, man, and so I posted on his Facebook page, and some of his friends, man, hit me up on Messenger. That's how big of a D-bag he is. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've known him for like freaking 20, 30, 40 years, man. And so I had this girl, and she just like wigged out on me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I just posted this because a fan told me that he, showed me his obituary. And she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to his house. I'm gonna go check it out and all this stuff. And I go to work. And I come out of work, and I have a message about how big of an a-hole I was, and this, that, the other, because I freaked her out because he wasn't really dead.
Did you figure out why he did it?
No, he's still supposed to be dead. So
Well, he's still playing dead, so we can't get a word out of him.
Yeah, sticking with a failed fake death. Pretty ballsy.
yeah, he's playing it out. I even called, and the girl picked up his phone, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll have him call you back." And he's never called me back, so I guess he's still dead.
Of course not, he's dead.
So it is what it is.
Is he the one that was the private eye fan?
Yeah, he was the one really going in, just saying
Yep.
he was hard as shit, and
He's
that
a
he had
ringer.
I've been attacked while tailing people, and my first thought was, then you're a bad PI, because you shouldn't be tailing them to the point that they get so upset they not only lose you, they get out, confront you, and beat you up. You're a bad private investigator. So, yeah, that guy sucked. He was my least favorite. Lowest in the power rankings by far.
I don't. Well, if we're going on the whole show,
No, you go by season. Otherwise, it's just convoluted.
because remember there was that one guy who didn't even make it into the pod. Like
Burthen!
he cracked in the holding cell.
No, he
You know?
cracked at a Marriott. He didn't even get in.
Oh, I wasn't even gonna make fun of that poor little man.
Yeah, he didn't even make it in. He was at the hotel.
That little man did not need to be in there, and I've called him little man 3 times in a row now for a very good reason. He is the most tiny human being I've ever seen who didn't. How smart? Did you see that guy with your own eyes? How tiny is he?
I don't know if he was on the same season as.
Yeah, I didn't think he was, but
No,
he knew his name, so that led me astray.
When he was given an excuse, he said, "I'm 5'3" and little." We're losing you a bit, Mark. We lost you on that.
Snooze limitation. Oh, are you? Hello?
Yeah, I think you're okay. Yeah, you were saying he knew his limitations.
Well, he didn't before he signed up.
He learned his limitations.
He learned as he was watching free porn at that Marriott that night.
Did he do that?
I don't know if he did that, but he failed at the Marriott. He didn't even get pretend arrested yet. I don't really want to do it, and I just want to go back to my job making candy at the Wonka factory. I don't know here. This is a bad idea. We can hear you now. You're good now.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't think you guys go into credit too, though. He knew his limitations. Let's be honest. If he's gone to the Fulton County, and I'm from the Fulton area, so I know Fulton County, dude, I wouldn't. In fact, kind of a heads up, when you go through the whole interview process, the only reason why I would go to Pinal County, but it's closer. They told me, like, Fulton County or doggone Rikers Island or LA County, I would give up. But,
Yeah.
so I give the guy his credit and say, hey, I can't do this.
That guy's biggest
So-
limitation is being able to get on roller coasters.
Jesus Christ.
Why can't I ride with Batman? You're way nicer than me. Fuck that guy. You suck. We're not entertaining in any way. You should have left the spot open for someone who would have taken it more seriously. Because there was someone who got booted from that shit who would have actually given a fuck. And that guy, that was disappointing.
Are you sure that he wasn't good content in a different way? You know, like not everyone needs to be a surprise success. That's just one piece of the puzzle in a good show.
I now agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you look at the casting of each season, we're all pretty much the same people. They had to cast the tough guy. They got to cast the awkward, weird guy. For me, I can think what's happening. A lot of people compare me to this guy. I look like Jeff from season 1. And Jeff's a great dude. Jeff's the guy that got hit. He was the security guard that wanted to be the corrections officer. And you always have the goofy guy, which is me, and I guess Judd, and Matt's son from season 5. The father-son couple. They have. It seems like they have their own stereotypes they want to put in. And but I think it's here that really dictates how well you'll do.
Who was the really athletic black guy?
If you remember, Mark, tell me. Which season? On Mark's season?
My seasons are a little mixed up. I watched him on your stream.
And it was either seasons 3, probably seasons 5.
He might have been a cop or one of the.
David. You're talking about
David.
David.
Yeah, David.
How did he do? He's super strong. He's jacked. I think I called him a wide receiver on a different episode. Like he looked like he'd be a pro athlete.
Very fit. Yeah, I'll let Mark take on it.
I love David. I mean, honestly, a lot of people love to talk smack about David because of how our season ended. And Woody, I don't know if you remember, but David was the guy that he blew the whole season. He told the corrections officer who he was, and then he told one of the inmates who he was, who in turn went over back to Admiral's spot. And Admiral had to be in the beginning, and then started getting everybody, telling everybody that there was more to Admiral than met the eye, and almost got him jumped. So Admiral actually had to tap out. That's my source of pride. I'm the big goofy guy, but I'm the last male to get pulled from my season. So
nice little badge again.
But a lot of people talk back about him. I don't know what happened. He denies a lot of it, and to be honest, with so much editing on the show, some of us don't know what to believe. Whereas how much is true, how much is edited, and he claims a lot of it didn't happen. But what I do know for a fact is I was with him. Like, I love all my participants, every single one of them. But the only participant I saw on a consistent basis after the hotel and after going into jail was David. And I think the world David's a great dude. He's a solid dude. He's still in law enforcement. I know he gets a lot of hate from the public for being the guy to screw up our season, because as a result of what he did, we all got pulled. But I think the world did, man.
Do you know your scheduled last date? Like, are you looking in there saying this is the day I get out and trying to make it to that?
They don't tell you when you're going to get out. They just say it's going to be between this day and this, so they don't tell you a specific date. But I did do little hash marks on the bottom of my bunk. I did little hash marks there every single day, so I knew how many days I had in. Yeah,
I would think you get lost among other hash marks from previous, right? Or you just pick
there was a lot of hash marks. There's a lot of, I looked up at some devilish chick with big boobs the entire time. Yeah,
that was right on the top.
He was a very talented artist, and so I put the hash marks right on his chest.
Yeah. Well, you deprived yourself of a big-titted demon, apparently. That stinks.
Well, I tried to give her Bible study, but she didn't talk.
So she was like the way they made it look in the show. I am so disappointed, and that's the biggest thing to me. I wanted to ask about the Bible study thing, and we did, and knowing that 7 to 15 people would show up for that, and they made you look like an absolute goober, that is that's really unfair.
That's not cool. Yeah.
That's hard.
Lots of people talking about how good his Bible studies were. Lots of people. Too afraid. Amy will show it.
They were the greatest Bible studies in the history of all Bible studies.
I've never read it before personally. It's long and boring, but fuck that. In lessons, lots of good stuff in there. Indicator for lessons.
Yeah. When I watched it, honestly, it took me off.
So, Mark, thank you so much for coming on, man.
My pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying before the show that the kind of beginning of this is I started streaming it on Twitch, and everybody wanted to get someone from the show. We were on season 5. I jumped in at season 5 for some random ass reason, and they wanted Mark. And so, Chiz, by God, he got Mark. So thanks again for coming on.
Hey, fist bump, guys.
Hell yeah. There we go. I like a little engagement. That's nice. So, it makes me feel good. So, I like one of the most obvious questions on there, I guess. For people who don't know, 60 Days In, it's a program where you spend 60 days in a prison or a jail, and you have to try and solve a mission where you need to figure out some information on behalf of prison guards and everything. But one of the first thing I thought of, what I wanted to ask you was there anything so scary, so outrageous that they couldn't even put it on the show that happened to you, where like someone got stabbed or like there was blood? Like, because I imagine there's a line A&E goes with like, oh shit, that's a little too brutal, can't show up. What's about to become a rape.
I can only speak of my pod, but no, we never had anything like that happen. I think the A&E was pretty true to what they showed, minus the editing, but we can get to that here as the interview progresses. But as far as anything too graphic, too nasty, there was nothing like that.
That's good to hear. I went into every episode, or the very beginning of every season, kind of making my own internal power rankings where I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna kill it, or like, oh no, this chick is fucked. Oh no, like she's not gonna do well. I think that was the season where that was that blonde woman and her only Chiron was right-wing conservative.
Yeah, apparently that's all she's ever been about.
That's all she's
Mama
ever
Brooke.
been. And like the intro for those people is hilarious because like you'll come from someone, you know, like yours, where it's like I just kind of, you know, want to learn how this goes. I want to try and, you know, you're Christian, you want to reach them with a positive message. And she's like packing in her nice hair ties and everything, being like, only bad people go to prison, and I'm a good person, and so I'll be fine in there. And it's not, you know, I think they have it too easy in there. And it's like, oh no, this bitch is in for a rude awakening. The people who think that prisoners have it too easy, you know, they never do so well. Strange enough, you know, it turns out it's not that easy. And so,
well, I was stuck though with that nomenclature superfan, which I didn't like. That was an A&E production decision.
yeah.
So I think I would have rather been. I don't know who got worse criticism, was either me or the right-wing conservative. So I think if I hadn't finished it as strong as I did, I might have gotten. So I don't know which nomenclature is worse.
I didn't think you were going to make it. I didn't. No, it looked. You really proved everybody wrong. I'm sure you take pride in that. And that was probably, I want to say, in like there's in the first episode of every season, there's sort of this sort of moment where you're hanging out with some of the people who run the jail, and I want to say one of them was even kind of rude to you, right? Like wasn't?
Yeah. So Sheriff Lamb, he came up to me and said, "Man, what you for pencils?" Man, come on, dog. I was stuck as the pencil, and then if you guys remember the first day I walked in the pod, Rocker came up and accused me of stealing a pig and a bicycle. So unfortunately, in the very beginning, I was kind of labeled as the weak person. You know, it is what it is. You know, I know I wear the glasses. I'm kind of the big fat jovial nerdy dude. But you know, what a lot of people don't know about me is, you know, I served 13 years in the Army first, and then I actually became a corrections officer for a spell here in Georgia. And so I won't say that prepared me, but I learned how to put up with a lot of crap and just deal with it. So I would say I was vastly underestimated.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely found like a niche within the pod, I guess. And it seemed like before long, you were kind of like the number 2 guy among the whites, because like our audience knows, like it's very divided racially in the pods and jails and especially prisons. But it seemed like you were kind of like second in command of the whites at some point. You were the guy who was like, "All right, guys, white meeting, let's go." And so, but there were these awkward moments where the guy who was in charge, I can't recall his name, but like
Josh.
the guy who, the leader of the
Lord
whites.
Farquaad.
Yeah, Lord Farquaad, who's like a legit white. And of course, super racist guy. But he would say some awful things like to you. He'd be like, you know, this race or that race, you know how they are. Just rat people, really. And you're just like, yeah.
And if you guys saw the pre-edited stuff, it was even worse, man.
I'm sure.
He was talking all this Aryan German Nazi language lingo to me, and I'm like,
What was the most absurd thing you had to agree with him? Because everything he says, you just have to be his sounding board, right? You can't go, actually, I'm not 100% sure about that assertion. You have to go, hell yeah, obviously.
yeah, I mean, duh, jeez. So, I would say that, you know, he was very much, you know, his views, you know, fell in line kind of with the Nazi Party, if you will, if you can imagine what Hitler would say. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be awesome. But, you know, I got, especially if you watch Twitter traffic during the show, I got a lot of crap for White TV Day. But
oh my God, White TV Day was so funny.
But you got to understand, it's about surviving, and I'm sure maybe this will lead up to Dylan, the kid that got jumped for wanting to hang with the black guys.
Before we jump to that, can you break down the White TV Day thing for people who don't know what happened there?
Okay, so once again, a lot of it was edited, and I own it. I will completely own that awkward moment. But so you know, everyone had a TV day. We had a schedule, and in jail. Of course, I didn't care what was on TV that day, but doggone it, it's the white guy's day to watch TV, and there's no way you're going to be able to let any other race. And that was another thing that they mentioned it, but the general public didn't take it too well. Is it really was a racially divided jail? It was in Arizona, and I actually heard one of your previous podcasts where you talked, and I felt some redemption by listening to the podcast. Where you had the gentleman on that had done the British guy, and I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. Yeah, and he talked about being in Arizona and how racially divided it was. So it was racially divided. I'm gonna tell you, March Madness was on, and I wanted to watch some guys on basketball. But it was more, the only reason why I really made a big deal about it was because it was more of this white TV day, you had to fit in. I didn't like any of the crap that Josh talked about. Once again, I did time in the Army. I'm a law enforcement officer now. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, what color you are. You got to have my back. If you got my back, I got your back. So that was kind of the background that I came from. And even though growing up in the deep South, we still, have people here that aren't racist. But it was just one of those things that I had to prove a point. I had to get in, if you will, with Josh. It didn't matter any of the other guys. It was the white guys that had my back, and I had to get in so I could find information. So I think they were watching. My pod was weird. Working at the prison and having worked before, in a jail. Most guys that have that machoism that they all want to watch sports all the time, but I was stuck in a pod that wanted to watch cartoons. And I was kind of sick of cartoons that day, and I really wanted to watch doggone basketball. So in my head, it was just a great idea. Hey, let's prove myself to Josh, and I had no intention of ever being elevated to second in charge. That one kind of broadsided me, But
the number 2 Nazi. Put that on you. If you ever do 60 days in again, that could be your Chiron. Number 2 Nazi.
Hey, I put it on my resume. And, and so I've got that out now. Let's see if anything happens as a result of that. But it was just one of those things that it had no. I could care less what was on TV. It was more about acceptance. And unfortunately, even though on the outside I despise racism, on the inside, I had to give a crap about it because, there you don't run with the whites, you get jumped.
Playing the hand you're dealt. You're in prison. You have to be racist. Like, that's the rules.
Yeah, and they will tell you in there, in Canal County, one of the biggest topics of discussion was everything you do here follows you in the Department of Corrections. So one thing you guys didn't really see that was edited out is Josh got all his directions. He'd make a phone call up to whoever it was up at DOC that was in charge of the white guys, and every decision you make follows him because they communicate with the Department of Corrections, the guys in prison.
Oh wow! So what was when you chose March Madness for White TV Day, and then immediately it seemed like Rocker, who was like the black main enforcer on the block, immediately it seems like he's like, You're turning it to March Madness and you're not even going to watch? This motherfucker's not even watching the March Madness. And like, he immediately starts calling you out. Were you just, I would have been scared right away. Like, oh no, I thought I did something that everybody would like. And now I'm getting roasted.
So I wasn't really scared of Rocker, and you saw him fight that one kid, Brandon. And he, don't get me wrong, I had no issues with Rocker on a personal level, but he didn't scare me. Once again, probably being in the military, I don't get scared at a lot of things. Except my wife, she's scared. But that being said, I don't get scared of a lot of things. But at that point, a lot of editing took place there. So I watched TV for probably an hour, and then I walked away, and I don't remember what I was doing. And then of course, Rocker made that comment. So it was more to prove a point. And then the one thing you really kind of saw a little bit of, but you didn't see the whole story, is we kind of took everything to Josh to see how he'd react, since he was the pod boss for the whites, for the Woods. Remember, it's Woods. Whites only one day soon. And just to kind of see how he reacted. And at the end, he relented and said, hey, y'all put it on whatever you want to. And it's like, dude, dude, why are you talking all this talk and then back down whenever anything happens? But
Yeah, he
that's
sold you
another
down the
story.
river on that. We
Oh,
didn't see that part.
Absolutely. I still hate that guy for that.
Still
Hump
get-
bag son of a gun.
The number one thing was the TV thing. A few rungs down was the Nazi thing. You know, but mainly the throwing me under the bus with the TV.
Yeah,
I Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say I had never seen the show until a couple of months ago. Last year, I did 2 months in a federal prison, and while I was in there, they were. I told them I was like, "Yeah, I'm here for 60 days," and they kept giving me these weird looks. And then somebody was like, "No, they think you're in some part of a TV show called 60 Days In, because you really don't fit in, you know." And I was just like, "I don't know what that is." He's like, "Oh, it's where they send in a narc," and I'm just like, "No." No! No! But then, so when I got out, I was like, I gotta watch this stuff that they were all talking about. But that's got to be a problem going forward, because every season the show gets more popular, and more inmates are aware of the show. So if a fucking production crew shows up to your jail, you've got to immediately start wondering, are they filming 60 Days In right now?
So, the company that we actually filmed with isn't A&E. It's and for safety reasons, I'm not going to name. I'm not going to name the production company. It's Lucky 8 Casting that does it, but they'll come in and they'll have people sign waivers. Everyone that's in the pod has to sign a waiver, and it says what production company it was. Well, part of me didn't realize it was the guy Ratchet, the guy that jumped Dylan. And he called home and had someone do some research, and they were like, hey, this production company works for A&E. And so I'm sitting there the whole time stressing, like, oh, goodness gracious, because there's only one jail show on A&E.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they're not smart enough to put this together. But then I played it off completely, and I was like, did you see that one guy, the camera guy? He had a